So this is a story I wrote for the class. I was asked to stress that it is fictional. So. Yeah, my story is called Finding You. It's just an excerpt because the real story is like 4 times as long, but yeah, it's just an excerpt. And as I stood there, waiting for my own Newman to finish climbing the ladder up here, I had to beat down the urge to start crying. But in doing so, I also had to cover my own mouth to stop the involuntary laughing. I was so ecstatic, I couldn't stop my eyes from expressing what tears of joy truly felt like. And then I held my breath, out of fear or anticipation, I'm not sure, as I saw the embodiment of my grief pull itself up onto the roof, barefoot, and with a face that was an utter mess of running black mascara. We could both feel time itself give us the privacy we needed as we began to move toward each other in slow motion. Her dress was so dazzled in silver and sparkling in the moonlight that it made my midnight blue dress seemingly drip shadows. Before we both realized it, we were grappling on the ground, faces cut and bleeding, dresses tattered, with chunks of hair strewn around us. She was both strangling me and crying. "You will stay awake for all of this," she cried as she pushed down harder and gripped my throat all the more intensely. She did this only to keep me from struggling too much, rather than knock me out. And I just wanted to let her have her way this time. The peace I found in this moment, this action alone, forced my mind to fade, leaving me to remember that time when we were kids again, the first day I truly understood the acute pain of loneliness. Believe it or not, we used to fight like this at home all the time. Before, just like our parents, we drifted apart. We could always hear our parents fight downstairs. Then after blaming each other for their petty problems, we tore each other apart. She had a jump rope wrapped tightly around my neck while I reached for the nearest lamp and smashed it against her face. Before I could bring what was left of the lamp down on her, she would swiftly get behind me and use our combined weight to smash us into the old large TV we had in our room. The electricity hit us both equally and as sharply as the blades of glass piercing our backs. Then we would lay there, just crying, bleeding, and insulting each other, because those were the only punches we had left in us to throw. Then we would both fade in and out of consciousness, me first. Mom and Dad would come in, always both shocked and angry, yell at each other, then come pick us both up. Mom picked me, Dad picked her, and we would take a nice family trip to the hospital. Well, where do we go from here, was the last thing I heard Dad say to Mom. To break the cycle, Mom took me away, and she got a new job to support me as a midnight meat vendor, she would forlornly call it, while sipping wine in a moonlit kitchen. Dad took my other self, and that was the last I saw of them until 3rd grade, when I stopped being homeschooled. And here we are again. On top of me was a girl I grieved for more than any sister could, while she showed me her own version of grief as well. "I don't need you anymore. I realized that years ago," she lied, "and I grew stronger because of it. You showed me what hatred was, and look where it brought you now. We are more than sisters, and you know it too. You just always denied it, which forced me to deny it as well. You tried going your own way, and I went mine. I embraced the world, and guess what? I got noticed instead of just sitting there in a swing, hoping to be noticed. I sculpted myself into who I thought I wanted to be, and I found the beauty I didn't know I'd never want. But look at you. You just tried to be the opposite of me, for years and years, and I hated you for it. But for no reason I wanted to be you for so long, to get the love and attention and friends someone actually deserves, instead of tricking them into believing that I exude self-respect into whatever I touch. Seriously, how desperate can people become? But what else is there to live for? Why do I even exist? I'm a walking cliche while you can find value in everything. And I'm your freaking twin, so now my life has been worse since you left." She was losing strength as she talked to me, her tears mixing with mine, allowing us both to stare into each other's faces, hoping to see the angels in each other's eyes that would come out to save us both from this. From the worst part, at least. The part that we both could see coming. And you know what? Because of you, because of freaking you, I can't love anyone anymore. Dad just ignores me and cries or goes away at night and comes back sadder and drunker than before, blaming me for all his problems, saying he never wants to see my ugly face in the light of day. Or my new mom, who always calls me a hideous freak or something, ever since she came to live with us immediately after Mom and Dad's breakup. And anyone can see she's just using Dad, but Dad always yells at me to love her if I want to sleep in his house, and always takes her side. And I especially don't love you, since you caused all this, and "What about your boyfriend?" I sputtered. "I'm pretty sure I saw you sucking his face clean yesterday." She punched me, then stiffened as if she surprised herself, then punched me again, but crying heavily this time. "You don't understand," she sobbed as she looked for something else to hit me with. A tiny stone was all she saw nearby. I groped for my book lying under me, War and Peace. It was old and soft, but still weighty and all that I would need. As she turned back to me, she saw the book and flinched. She waited and looked at the book, then back at me. When I didn't move, she grabbed my arm and held it down, all the while raising her stone higher. But then she too stopped. She was confused. Our fight wasn't supposed to happen this way. It never happens this way. Her confusion changed to worry as she looked to me for an answer. I told her, "Not this time," and I let go of the book. She in turn dropped her stone, and then I hugged her, her body frozen in a state of both bewilderment and shock. Then she slowly began to wrap her arms around me as well, still crying, but quieter now. And what we said next was just like our parents right before the breakup that night at the hospital. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'm sorry too," she replied. "We both know that we can't keep doing this." There was a pause. Then she slowly pulled herself back to look me straight in the eye. She was smiling, and we were both hopeful. "Well, where do we go from here?"